this ability to look at things or listen to things or with other senses, smell, taste, touch, as the awareness rather than the interpreting mind, practice that in your daily life. It's a primordial spiritual practice. If that's your only spiritual practice, it would be quite enough. So, innocent perception, it requires awareness, it requires an alertness in the background of your perception. Without the alertness, thinking will always overpower you. The alertness keeps thinking at bay. You remember the story I wrote about in the New Earth? It's an ancient Zen story where the disciple and the Zen master are walking on a long journey through the mountains. And then they stop for a little picnic. And then the disciple, who is still having problems understanding what Zen is all about, he's only been there for 10 years, he asks the master, I don't quite get it yet. How do I enter Zen? Meaning, how do I enter the state of consciousness that is Zen? How do I? And the master looks at him and says, can you hear the sound of that mountain stream? And the disciple says, no, I can't hear it. The master says, just see if you can listen, see if you can hear it. And this is the point of the master to the disciple, to become more alert. The master associates the alertness with the auditory perception there. So the alertness flows into the auditory perception. And as the master tells him, you have to listen more carefully to hear that mountain stream. And then the disciple, at that moment, the alertness, the awareness in the disciple rises, and he goes. And of course, at that very moment, while he's in that intense listening, he's no longer thinking or trying to figure out what Zen is all about. He's just... And then he can hear in the far distance, there's a tiny mountain stream that makes a sound. And suddenly he can hear it. And he says, yes, I can hear it. And the master says, that's it, enter Zen from there. Oh. This is a practical, to show by means of practical example what that means, that alertness. Jesus talks about it too. He said, if you be so awake as if you were, he gives the parable of a servant waiting for the master. He doesn't know when the master comes. He may come in very silently. So you have to be alert. Don't go to sleep. Be alert and wait for the master. So the servant is sitting in that house. The door, maybe in my version of the story, the servant is on the upper floor. And the master is could come in any moment. And the master is very quiet. So you go. So the servant basically would be in continuous presence. Otherwise he might miss the master. Again, it's an example to show what that state of consciousness is. Again, using the analogy with associating awareness with the auditory perception. You can associate it with other perceptions too.